presentation that came before. This is Smallpox, Big Fear. I am scared, and you should be too. Okay, so this very blurry image is where my fear came from. It was a high school AP US History textbook.
Yes!
And it was roughly accompanied by a passage that said something along the lines of when the Native Americans contracted smallpox and they laid on these mats, when they tried to get up from the mats, their skin would peel off in large sheets. That image has haunted me for like 8 years now, hence this presentation. So, little did I know that when I took a deep dive into smallpox, what I would find is actually much more horrifying than that picture and that passage, so warning, there are some graphic images ahead. So what is smallpox? It's a rash. And it looks like that.
Oh!
And that. And 1/3 of the time, if you contract it, it'll kill you. So that's cool. And if it doesn't kill you, it'll probably leave you blind. Also, 1/3 of the time, if you survive, it'll leave you blind. And if not, it will leave you horribly, horribly scarred and disfigured. So things are fun. A brief history of smallpox, 12,000 years of terror. The earliest appearance was in 10,000 BC, and the last naturally occurring case was in 1977. So it quite literally haunted the world for a very, very, very long time. In 1796, Edward Jenner, who's this homie over here, found a vaccine for it. Fast forward about 150 years, and the World Health Assembly finally got on board with vaccinating everybody in order to eradicate the disease. And it was eradicated in 1980. But not before it killed like a fuck ton of people. Like 500 million people worldwide. 300 million of those were in the 20th century. Yeah.
I'm so glad he went before us.
So to put that a little bit into perspective, that is roughly 3 times what's estimated were killed by like the Black Plague. And many, 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 many times the amount of people that were killed in both world wars combined.
5,000 people a day got smallpox.
Basically. So this is a picture of scientists with the day that they found out that smallpox had been eradicated, right? So the two on the ends, I feel, have very naive optimism written on their face, but this guy in the middle, he understands the great danger that we're still in.
The dangerous complacency.
So Rachel, why are you still afraid? That's a great question, let me tell you. There are 2 stocks of smallpox in the world. One is at the CDC in Atlanta. Chill, right? One is at a place called Vector in fucking Russia. Okay? So during the Cold War, Vector was the lab that was in charge of inventing like bioweapons. So it seems like a safe place to keep that, right? The second reason, this guy, Ken Alabek, he was the former deputy director of the Soviet Union's civilian bioweapons program. And it is documented that he has said that they were actively at one point trying to use smallpox in bombs and long-range missiles. So that's good.
Just a missile full of blankets.
And finally, people who handle deadly diseases are really fucking careless with them, apparently, as evidenced by this. The CDC requires theft, loss, and otherwise release of deadly diseases to be reported, and between 2005 and 2012, an incident was reported on average every few days. So that's chill.
Accident-free workplace.
Relating to smallpox, specifically in 1978, shortly after the last natural outbreak of the disease, in Birmingham, UK, Janet Parker was a photographer that was working at a lab that had small vials of smallpox, and she contracted it through the vents and died. And in 2014, some FDA goons were going through some boxes that they found in the corner, found a bunch of unmarked vials, did what anyone would do with unmarked vials, and just taped the box up and walked them on over to the lab to be investigated. Turns out it was smallpox, and one of the vials was not properly secured. So,
they sniffed them.
yeah, a little bit.
That's not Japanese.
But there's a vaccine, you say, so we should be fine, right? Well, the last routine... Can I finish?
We've got so few. Go for it.
Yes!
I want you to be afraid, as afraid as I am.
Routine vaccination ended in 1972, so about 50% of the world's population is not vaccinated against smallpox, and the vaccine, in order to be effective, yes.
Wait, so it's eradicated in 1980,
Yes.
but they quit vaccinating everyone in 1972.
Careless. I'm not paying attention.
like 8 years after that, they're like, good job, guys. I know we haven't been on top of it for the last
So
decade.
about
But like,
50% of the world's population is not vaccinated, and those that are the vaccine, in order to remain effective, requires to be topped up every 10 years. So they're pretty much fucked too. And finally, I will leave you with this, a headline. A Russian lab, I should say the Russian lab, containing smallpox and Ebola exploded. Note the date, September 18th, 2019. So, we're in good shape. And last but not least, if you have not figured out my costume, I am well aware that this is one.